Thank you for coming, everybody. Thank you for coming to my surprise birthday party. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jess Knauf. I'm part of the business or the management team at Media UK, founded by our speaker this evening, Ali Carter. I came here about 4 years ago with 2 suitcases and a job offer. And in March 2020, the world broke. And just to give you an idea of the kind of man you're listening to today, he honored that job offer. So over those 4 years, he has been a boss, he has been a mentor, and I'm very privileged today to call him a friend. I owe a lot of where I am in my life right now to this man. So it's quite an honor to be introducing him this evening. So without further ado, if I can ask you to all please put your hands together and give a big round of applause to Mr. Ali Carter.
A recent YouGov poll surveyed 5,000 people across the UK. 26% of them said they were living a life that was highly satisfying, which is great. But if you think about it, that means every 4 people who you know, every 4 people who you meet, 3 of them are not living anywhere near a life that they find satisfying. If you take it the next step, 3/4 of the people in the UK go to their grave not having led a highly satisfying life. If I could show you tonight, by sharing my story, how to significantly improve the quality of your lives, show of hands, who'd be up for that? Excellent. Okay, let's do this. That's a few months old now, that photo. I was raised in a painfully middle-class family in Epsom. And my father was loving and kind and generous to my brother and sister, but was cruel, down, and abusive towards me. And I couldn't work out why. I couldn't work out why I was different, so I pretended everything was okay, but if you scratch the surface, there was a sad, anxious, and depressed child. So I spent all the time in the kitchen with my mum. And at the age of 11, I could dissect a chicken into 8 pieces in less than 1 minute. Don't worry, the chicken was already dead. So when I left school, I got a job as a chef. That seemed a natural progression for me. And I worked for these guys. Anyone know who they are? They're called the Roux Brothers. They were like the Gordon Ramsay, less sweary version in their day. And I worked at a restaurant called Gavers in London. And that was below the actual restaurant. So the waiting staff would drop down the order attached to a clothes peg. Samage, 3 couverts, un poisson, un poulet, un canard. I'm sorry, what? Un poisson, un canard. Do you want me to do the duck? Please, mate. And the kitchen is a hot, sweaty place to work, and I was doing split shifts, and maybe I realised that actually the only reason I really liked cooking was it was one of the few times my father actually paid me any compliments, and I was a counsellor's wet dream at that age, but I decided I needed to get another career. So I got a job in the office. Lombard Motor Finance, Red Hill, helping people buy cars they really cannot afford. And I got promoted to a manager position, and it was stressful. My manager was horrific, and I went to the doctors because I was feeling ill, and he took one look at me and he signed me off work for 3 months, and I knew then I'm going to have to get another career. So I joined this lot. Anyone here ever had a driving ticket or a ticket from a police officer. It wouldn't have been by me. I gave one out in my 10-year career. But I thought, yeah, I can beat up the bad people and help the good people. I wasn't a very good police officer. I did find my niche. I did 5 years working on a squad that helped victims of serious sexual abuse, and I would go called out at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And I had 2 minutes to gain their trust, get them to like me, so that they would tell me the details of their ordeal, that I could highlight forensic opportunities. And we managed to put some particularly horrible people away. And then I got promoted, and I was dealing with victims of assault under 5, and I would have to play with them on video with toys to get out the story of their ordeal. And that was tough, and you can't do that for too long because you get numb to it. And when you're numb to it, you're not giving the victims their best service. So I went back on team, and has anyone here ever been arrested by the police? Can we keep an eye on this table over here? It wouldn't have been by me. In my last year in the police, I arrested 1 person. So I decided I needed to get another career. So I took over a rugby-themed cafe near Twickenham. The irony was that, having had 9 years in the police of people telling me, "Hey mate, can you smell bacon?" It was only when I left the police that I horrifically stunk of bacon. And the cafe was 95% turnover on match days, and it was tough work. And after 9 months, we were going bust, and I realised I needed to get a new career. So I heard on the radio that family mediation was becoming compulsory before you can go to court. And I thought, well, if it's compulsory, there must be a business there. So I set up a little office under the stairs. To get into the office, I had to pull the chair out, walk in, and then slide the chair under my bum. But we grew to 2, 3 branches, and it was difficult. Because the trouble with anything to do with divorce is, unless you're dealing with Premier League footballers or A-list celebrities, you don't get a lot of repeat custom. And so we had to constantly find new clients, and it was tough, and we were trying to expand. And I sold a flat, and I put £50,000 into the business, and then we had to put £50,000 onto our credit cards, because the only way I could keep the business going was by not paying myself. At the end of each month, the stress was rising within me. Could I pay the staff? Can I pay the bills? And I dealt with it by not telling anyone, just keeping it all into myself, because I wanted people to believe that I was this fantastic businessman. It was important what others viewed as me. And so I decided to self-medicate by drinking a bottle of wine a night, because, that'll help. And I couldn't sleep. And one moment I remember well was my wife phoned me up in tears. And I said, "Hon, what on earth is the matter?" She was at Asda doing the weekly shop, and her debit cards had been declined. But we were used to that at that stage in our lives. But both of her credit cards had also been declined. And so I had to run around the house trying to find credit cards to pay our weekly food bill on, but not before I crashed to the floor. What sort of man was I? I couldn't even afford to feed my family because of the choices and mistakes I had made in life. And I will never forget the indignity of driving to Asda to pay an £85 food bill over 3 credit cards. And the stress just got worse, the sleep got worse. And on the 9th of April 2019 at 8:15 p.m, one day before my 8th wedding anniversary, I checked into the Travelodge in Bracknell, and I took a cocktail of 50 pills And I lay down on the bed and I waited for them to kick in. Dum-ba-dum. It's a bit boring. Hope it doesn't hurt. Can't hurt. I've taken painkillers. Is 50 enough? I'll go and check. So I jumped up and I opened up my laptop and my Facebook icon, there was a little red dot. And you know if there's a little red dot, you've got to click on it. So I did. And someone on my feed had written a post saying that if anyone was struggling with their mental health, they could reach out to her. So I did. It was someone I barely knew from my rugby club. I said, Emma, this may sound a bit weird and don't worry, I'm not cracking onto you. But what do you see when you hear my name? What do you think of me? And she replied instantly, I see a guy with a great sense of humour, a loving family man, successful businessman, and a great father. And Emma didn't know it, but she just saved my life. Because I ran to the bathroom and I put my fingers down my throat so far I wanted to bite my hand off. And I was sick, and it was horrible, pussy, chalky sick. And I did left hand, right hand, until I was exhausted and collapsed on the bed, not knowing if I had done enough to wake up in the morning. Now, for those of you who haven't read the book, spoiler alert, I did wake up. And I vowed never ever to let myself get that low or down again. One of the things that I did to help me never to get that down again was I built up my pillars of support. And I'll come back to relationship, but my family at the time, my mother had just been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, my father, turned out he wasn't my real father, and that was obviously why he treated me differently. And my daughter from my first marriage decided she didn't want to be part of our family anymore, and I miss her very much. My friends, well, I'd fallen out with someone at work, and I thought that the wife of a good friend, and I thought all my friends would therefore hate me. My work was about 3 months from going bust, just at a time when we'd taken on new members of the team and just trying to expand. My coach, well, I did have a coach, but it turns out he was a bit of an incompetent fraud and did more harm than good to the business. And I was too busy just trying to survive and live to worry about anyone else or put out good into the world. I certainly wasn't religious. And my relationship was as solid as ever, but I'd read the small print. And my life insurance, I just qualified for the 2 years that they'd pay out £250,000 were I to not have woken up that morning. And at the time, in my head, that was the deal of the century, something I valued as nothing. Someone was willing to pay £250,000 for. I could feed my family, my wife could buy a house, the children would be okay. I obviously see that very differently now. But one of the things that I've started doing is the spirituality, the higher power, just putting good out. I'll give you an example. Let the people pull out in front of you when you're driving. Smile at them. Smile at the arrogant and the rude drivers. It makes it less stressful for you. And it turns out that it isn't a race after all. When you start putting out there positivity, when you start putting out kindness, good thoughts, smile at people, care, it comes back around. The only evidence I've got for this is that since I've started doing this, my life has changed considerably for the better. I'll give you an example. We were in Sainsbury's at Christmas, and we just loaded all our trolley onto the conveyor belt. And a lady behind us had about 6 items, and Amber, my wife, said, you can go first, to this lady. So, fine. We let her go first. And she was so grateful. She told us about her daughter, who she hadn't seen for a long time, was coming over for Christmas. And then as she was loading her arms up, we realised she didn't have a bag, and we gave her one of our bags for life. What a con they are. But that little thing of positivity was lovely, and Amber and I were smiling and happy. She was smiling and happy. Attila was smiling and happy. It was all great. And then 2 weeks later, Amber got to keep this little fella. Now, this little girl, sorry. Now, I don't know if they're linked in any way, but I promise you, when you put out positivity, good things do happen and come back to you. So one of the big takeaways I'd like you to take from today is to look at the pillars and decide which ones do you need to build up. Which ones are you struggling with? Most people have the first 4, but not many have the last 2. And getting a counsellor, getting a coach, getting a mentor, getting someone to help you, you sometimes need to pay for that, but it really can make all the difference. And if you do that now, when things are okay, when life comes along and shakes you, which we know it will do, you can't stop that. But when it does come along and shake you, your pillars of support are there and strong, and it will save you collapsing as I did on that day in April. One of the other things I did was to start setting some goals. I figured, well, I've got nothing to lose now. I might as well try and aim high. Turns out it works. You don't have to believe me on that now, but I hope you will by the end of this evening. And the first time I came across goal setting was when I read a book back in 2008. And I printed off a load of pictures and put them on a vision board. So I had an Aston Martin, gorgeous house, a villa in France, Rolex watch. And because I was very much in the shallow end of life, a picture of a blonde-haired model. And when I woke up in the morning, I was so excited. I ran outside to my garage. Who am I kidding? I didn't have a garage. I ran outside and I'm like, where's my DB7? That's not a Rolex. This stuff just doesn't work. Now, we'll skip over that 3 months later, I did meet my blonde-haired model, and I married her. But the reason that didn't work was I didn't actually take any action or do anything positive towards achieving them. Has anyone here heard of the placebo effect? Show of hands. So a placebo is a starch pill or a salt pill. It's scientifically proven to help cure certain ailments. A doctor will prescribe it. Sometimes if you have IBS or depression, it can really help. And it can trick the body into curing a physical ailment, even though it's just a salt pill. And they did an experiment where they got 90 men who had erectile dysfunction. Anyone here? Don't worry. And they split them into 3 groups of 30. The first group of 30, they gave Viagra. The middle group, they gave either Viagra or a placebo. And the last group, they gave a placebo. And here's the thing, all 3 groups reported an improvement in their condition. The best improvement was from the group who had Viagra, The second best was from the group who had either Viagra or the placebo, and the third improvement was from the group who had a placebo and knew it was. But here's the crux. They gave all three groups a placebo. It was an uplifting experience. I wasn't going to put that one in. And it just goes to show that if your brain can cure a physical ailment by taking a starch pill, even when it knows it is a starch pill, imagine what it can do if you start writing down your goals for life. You start allocating an importance to them, a time scale. You even start taking action to achieving those goals. It can do incredible things. Now, they taught me on my speaking course, never walk behind the projector. Now, I do quickly need a volunteer, and I did a quick survey of who we should ask, and all the sisters voted Simone, so I'm really sorry, Simone. But just trust me, very quickly, I just need you to stand still and do absolutely nothing just here. Simone, ladies and gentlemen. All you have to do is stand here, but you can face me this way. That's okay. Now, Simone doesn't know it, but she is a BHAG. Simone is representing my BHAG, which is a big, hairy, ambitious goal. And my big, hairy, ambitious goal isn't Simone. My big, hairy, ambitious goal is to set up a charity for teenagers in the UK. I want to get 10,000 teenagers in a room. I want to have concerts, motivational speakers, comedians, and all the teenagers who are struggling with their own mental health and way of life. I want to get together and show them that they're amazing, and to make sure that those people come back every single year and we don't lose any. And I'd like to try and then scale that worldwide. And I need a lot of money for that. So just hold that up. Just find his face that way. So my BHAG is £22 million net worth. A big, hairy, ambitious goal. And at the moment, I'm quite a long way from achieving that. This hall isn't big enough to accommodate how far back I am from achieving that. But it's something I'm aiming for. And here's the advantage. When you're here stuck in life and you're like, well, I'm here, I don't want to be here, but I'm not sure which way to turn. Do I go here? Do I go here? Here? Feels like a bit of a step backwards. But if you're here and you're trying to decide where to go next in life, the answer's there, it's easy for you. It doesn't matter as long as you are heading towards your BHAG. And it makes those decisions so much easier. Should I take the job? Should I start a business? Should I talk to this person? Should I go on this course? As long as it is aiming towards your BHAG, you're making the right decision. I mentioned about the pillars of support. If you have a coach, a mentor, even just a good friend who can guide you when you're here and you want to get towards that, and it's a bit scary, and you're like, well, I want to get there. Well, you have to go there now. I don't want to, it's scary. You'll be all right. Might explode. I'm outside my comfort zone. I've got imposter syndrome. I don't think I'm good enough to go there. Just try it, okay? It's all right here. It's fine, I told you, yeah. I thought I was going to know. Should I go there? Give it a go. Don't want to. It's scary, I might explode. If you have a BHAG, something big to aim for in your life, it helps you move towards it, helps you to make those decisions, and helps you achieve more. Even if you got halfway, 11 million I could settle with. That'd be all right. I could deal with that. It's far better that I'm here than I'm back there. I'm nearer towards it. Can we ask for a round of applause for Simone, my behalf?
Thank you.
How to start an argument between siblings. You may well have heard of SMART goals. A SMART goal is one that we had all the time in the police and in my office job. And it stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant and timely. I'll go through that. But in my office job, they didn't think that was good enough. They put an extra A in, so we had SMART goals. And then the following year, when I spoke to my line manager, she said, yeah, it's exciting. Now we've got SMART goals, 3 A's. And I left and joined the police, and the company went bust before they could actually do SMART goals. But the goals that you do need to be specific. There is a reason behind this. It's getting your brain working. If you go to the gym and you're exercising at the gym, as you can tell, I do a lot. And if you're exercising there, you're training your muscles, training your body. You need to do the same with your brain when you're setting these goals. So specific, I want to have a net worth of 22 million. Gets your brain excited. I want to be financially secure. Doesn't. Your brain doesn't know what that means. It needs to be measurable. So anyone on a diet? Anyone here on a diet? Just me? We have got pizza coming at some point. But you know the first thing you do if you're on a diet is you will need to measure your weight and then measure each week to see how much weight you're losing. They need to be achievable. I'm sure many people here want world peace. But you're unlikely to be able to do that from my place in Bagshot. So I could perhaps be nice or kind to everyone that I meet. Relevant. So if you wanted to become a crypto trader and learn all about crypto, you probably shouldn't read a book on horse riding by Katie Price. Keep your goals relevant and timed, and we will do this evening. If you time your goal, allocate an importance to them, your brain knows, oh, yeah, I need to get a wiggle on here. We need to start doing something to tick these off. So keep in mind that your goals need to be SMART this evening. Now, I've just seen child number 2 go out, so I'm hoping that our pizza is on its way. I did promise you pizza, and I know many of you were looking around for it. But I didn't want to do it at the start because I thought you'd come in, have yourself to pizza and disappear. So we're going to do an exercise now. One of the advantages of tonight for me is I will see how long this takes as an exercise to do. And the other thing is it teaches me things like perhaps set up so I don't have to walk behind the projector a bit better, and certainly bring some tape for all the health and safety hazards that I've put here. First exercise of tonight completed. Would anybody like to share one thing that they are grateful for? Just put your hand up if you do. Anyone feeling brave? Do I need to pick on anyone? Warren. Shout.
Come over there. My wife and my kids.
Absolutely. And having met your wife and your kids, I can see why. Anyone else?
Buying a house and building an annex in the garden.
Amazing stuff. Yes, we heard every single story about building that annex and photos as well. So I understand from my son that the pizza is here. So we're going to go on to the goal setting exercise. I'll just give you a few heads up on this. We're going to aim for 50. And that sounds like a lot, but imagine again if you're at the gym and you're exercising your muscles and I said to you, I'm going to turn you into a professional bodybuilder, please do 5 press-ups. You're not going to get impressed or very far with that. So 50 is going to stretch your brain. They don't have to all be BHAGs. They could be small things, they could be someone you want to call, someone you want to speak to, reconnect with. It could just be, I want to have dinner at a nice little Italian restaurant down the road. So a good mix of goals is good. This is about exercising your brain and getting them down. So we're going to take around about half an hour on this, and we'll see how people get on. We can extend it a bit further if you need it. The footballer who sits and thinks about scoring the penalty, and if anyone follows English football over the years, you'll understand they probably need to do a bit more manifesting. There's many celebrities. Michael Jordan sits and considers what it looks like and feels like to make these shots from the halfway line at basketball. Do they have a halfway line? And pictures doing that in the last second of the match. So he practices over and over again. When he's not practicing, he sits and thinks about it and manifests it. But my favourite manifesting story is the American comedian and actor Jim Carrey. And in 2000, he wrote himself a cheque for $1 million, which he wanted to get paid for his acting career. Quite a difficult place to do that. And 4 years later, he did get paid $1 million. He appeared in Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, and then in The Mask, and he got paid about $500,000 for each. But he wrote the cheque to himself 4 years earlier. So we're going to ask you to go through an exercise now to manifest one of your goals. So if I could ask you all, please, just to stand up, take some deep breaths, a couple of deep breaths in and out. I want you to think about the one goal that is the most precious to you, the BHAG. The one that you scored an 8, 9 or a 10 for on importance. The one that will make the biggest difference in your life. And focus all your attention now on that one goal. I want you to take in the colours, the sounds and emotions surrounding this amazing achievement. How do you feel? Picture yourself there now in your mind. Picture it so clearly. I want you to feel the satisfaction and joy rising up within you. Recognise the hard work and dedication you've put in to reach this point. I'd like you to picture yourself celebrating, smiling, and embracing the success you've worked so hard for. How do you feel? Who's with you? What are you doing? How are you celebrating? You've just achieved the most important goal in your life. Who does it impact? How does it impact you, your partner, your children, your grandchildren, your friends, others in the world even? Picture their faces celebrating this amazing achievement with you. Picture telling them and how it will benefit their lives. Picture the smiles on their faces, the gratitude they express, and the positive changes that ripple through their lives because of what you've just accomplished. What's it look like? Picture it so clearly, so it is a photo stuck in your mind, imprinted on your brain, so that when it happens, And believe me, it will happen. You've already been there. It's not a surprise. It's just what you were expecting to happen all along. It's already been decided. Picture it now. Consider the journey you've taken to reach this point in your life. What challenges have you overcome? What lessons have you learned? Visualize the growth and resilience you've developed throughout the process to get to this point in your life. Picture it so clearly you've just achieved the most amazing goal. Picture all you've become to achieve this moment in your life that will impact so many and place it in your memory forever. Picture the first step you took towards achieving this goal, what you had to do, who you had to speak to, what you had to learn to change in your life to get to this moment now, your moment, the proudest moment of your whole life. Feel a deep sense of appreciation inside you for all the people and circumstances that have contributed to your success. Imprint these details into your brain now. Now, very slowly, I want you to reach up with your right arm into the air. I want you to grasp that image in your mind, in your right hand, and bring it into your heart and place it there. And smile. You can open your eyes, because that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you manifest a goal. You can sit down, thank you. Thank goodness indeed. And I'm going to ask you to do just 4 things, but before I do that, I forgot to mention on my pillars of support that the change from where I was, building up those pillars. I now talk to my family if there's any issues. In fact, I write it all down in a book and let them read it. I surround myself with friends who build me up, put me on their shoulders and make me feel amazing, or who make me collapse to the ground because I'm laughing so much. My work, Mediate UK, is now the largest and top-rated family mediation service in the UK, and Yaka is an app that we've launched to try to help people connect, and we have big ambitions for that. And I was lucky I got a coach who is one of the top-rated coaches in the UK to help my business and help me increase turnover by 800%. And as I explained, we try and give, we try and add value, we try and be useful to others wherever we can. And it has made a huge difference in our lives. We now shop at Sainsbury's and not Asda. So as we finish up tonight, I'm going to ask, please, just to consider 4 things. This was the Facebook message that Emma put out that evening. And I invite you to think about whether you want to put something yourselves out on your Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. If you use the hashtag ShareUK, you might be able to get something going here. It's unlikely that it's someone really close to you, because they'll feel they can't reach out to you. It will be someone you barely know, and you could just make a difference, as Emma did to me. The second thing is to please finish your goal-setting exercise. Don't just go home and put it in a drawer and forget about it. This stuff works, and your brain will get a dopamine hit. As soon as you start ticking the goals off, it'll be, ooh, I like this, let's do more. If you want to, you can download Yaka. It's an app that helps people connect. And at the end of this month, there's some really exciting changes to it where groups and events are being added to the app. So if we were to host an event like this again, we'd be able to ping anyone who had an interest in bettering their lives. And then before you actually get here, you could connect with each other and sit next to someone who's obsessed with puppies or horses or business. And finally, remember the biscuits. I'll explain. So you know we shop in Sainsbury's now. One day Waitrose. And looking at me, some of you will think, yeah, I can see him in the biscuit aisle, hanging out there. And you're in the biscuit aisle and you're trying to get a packet of chocolate hobnobs because they're the best biscuits ever, and I won't be taking any questions on that. And there's someone standing in the way, and you're like, can I do you mind, can I just... And you think that person is standing there trying to decide between the Jaffa cakes and the War biscuits, but they're not. That person is standing there deciding whether to go home that evening and finish their life. And your kind word, your smile, how you are with them, the energy you put out, could just be the little thing that impacts their brain so that they go home and have a chance to finish the packet of biscuits. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ali Carter. I have greater expectations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ali. Another round of applause, everybody. If any of you know Ali, you know he's not actually done. And there was actually a bunch of things that he wanted me to say, and I said no. So I just said I was going to bring him back on. So if we can just give him another massive round of applause and just thank him for that massively inspiring and brave thing that he's just done. He didn't look it, but he was incredibly nervous. And I feel like we all come away from here. If anyone hasn't learned at least one thing, you are such a positive person. We all benefit from having you in our lives, and we are so, so grateful for it. Thank you for putting this together and for including all of us. Everybody, Ali Carter once more.
So that was the talk bit. This is just going to be me being like a bit normal now. Thank you everyone for coming. It means the absolute world to me. Those are the 4 things I've asked you to consider doing. But I'm here as well because I have written a book. It goes into more details of the story. I hope it will benefit people. It's $14.99 on Amazon. If you want to buy it tonight, no one carries cash, but we're only taking cash. It's a tenner, and I'll sign it for you as well. I'll be at the back of the room as soon as I've finished here. Don't stand in front of the camera. Let's try that. Okay, so I have a few people to thank. I'd like to thank my son and Lewis at the back there, the 2 good-looking boys, for dispensing the pizza, Prosecco, and generally helping tonight. And thank you. I don't know where Jess's gift has gone, but I'd like to thank Jess for being my amazing compere tonight and for saying all those kind words as well. I promise you I didn't write them down for her, but thank you very much to Jess. On your desk in front of you, there are some feedback forms. I will ask a favour, please. I tried to make them as quick as possible. Please just rate honestly and openly what you felt about tonight. What I would like to do is try to roll this talk out to more people. I hope it will benefit and help more people, and I can use your feedback to either improve or to use to show people that perhaps they should book me for a talk. You can do it anonymously and just leave them on the tables in front of you. I'd like to thank Karum, who you might have seen holding the camera and walking around. One of his goals he was telling me, was to get married, which he did last week. So congratulations. If anyone is feeling kind, he would very much like to grab 2 or 3 of you to do a 30-second interview on what you thought tonight. So if anyone's feeling brave, But he'll set up, and please, you can do a little piece to camera for him. And that's me. I'm going to be at the back of a room. If there's any Prosecco or pizza left, I'm not sure. There is. I've got to getting a nod. Please help yourself. Please have a chat with each other. That's my evening now. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you.